welcome to another exciting episode of Computer Science Unplugged here at the Farmington Public Library. This is part of our STEAM program for the year. And today is especially exciting. We're going to play a game called Space Race. And you're going to get a sheet like this in the kit. And this is going to be the one where you cut out all of these pieces. And then you've got the board itself with the display grid up top and where you're going to lay your code down below. For this game, you're going to need just a couple things from home. You're going to need some scissors to cut out all the pieces, and you'll need a pencil to write with. I set up an extra large version of the game here behind me on the board. So the first thing I'll do is go through the different components. On the right-hand side, you have the display grid. This happens to be a 7x8 display grid, the same as on your paper. However, you could make the grid as large as you want it to be in order to add more difficulty. This is where the game is actually played out, is on the display. In the upper left-hand corner, we have our coding area. This is where we're going to lay down our code before we send it to the robot rocket. And then on the bottom left, I have a bunch of the different pieces that we're going to use. First, we have the green move forward one space code block. Next to that, we have turn left in orange. Turn right in blue, and then this large one here in purple, this is the repeat block. And the way that it works is that you take whichever code block that you want to repeat and you put it on top of that, and my magnets aren't strong enough to hold both of those together. But you put the code that you're going to use on top of it, and then you write in pencil the number of times that you want it to repeat. So in this case, we're going to repeat move forward 4 times. Our next and final code block is the send code block. So once you've created your block of code that you're going to send to the robot, then you actually have to send it. And that's what this command does. Because until you send things to a robot, it won't respond. Underneath that, we have various obstacles and objectives that we might want to use. So we've got some aliens and some satellites and some planets, the sun and the moon. We've got the Earth up here. Next, I'm going to give just a real brief overview of how to set this game up and how to run it and how you might want to do it with your children. So, for very young children, it's best to start very easy and see kind of how they go as you add a little bit more complexity and then see if they get that, and then a little bit more complexity and see if they get that. So step them up as they go. So for a very young child, it would be something as simple as this, where we've got our robot rocket and we need to make it land back on Earth. So the solution for this one would be very easy. We would want to move it forward 1 space, and then 2 spaces, so that it will land on the Earth. And then we cannot forget the send command. Without the send command, the robot will not get our program. So very easy. Move forward 1, move forward 1. So the robot would then move forward 1, and then it would move forward for the second one. And the send command is what sent it there. So very easy to get there. To add just a hair more complexity here, we could take our objective and just move it to one side. Now our command would be slightly more interesting because we would need a turn in our code. So we would move forward 1, turn right, and then move forward 1. And the robot would then be on the Earth. So move forward 1, turn right, move forward again, and we're there at our objective. So that's the simplest. I'm going to take a second and set up something a little bit more complicated, and be right back. And we're back. Now if you look at the display now, you'll see that I've got the robot rocket set up here in the bottom left. And the Earth, which will be our objective, is up here in the upper right. And so we want to give the players a choice here They can choose multiple routes to get there, and they've got multiple objects to dodge. So we don't want them to run into anything. So they could, take a route that zigzags up this way, or they could, if they're really clever, they'll just turn right, go all the way over and all the way up. That'd be very quick and easy. So give them lots of options, and that way you can see how they learn. It's really fun. Some other options for things that you could do would be something like a barrel race, where you lay out, say, the planets, and the starship has to go around them in order to get to its objective. But, they have to go around all of them. You could do things like lay out all of the satellites, and the rocket has to collect all the satellites before it can get to your objective, wherever your objective happens to be on your map. That's a really fun one, because you can set up the aliens to block them. So they can't run into the aliens, but they have to collect all the satellites. So you can even set up like a cul-de-sac, because they can't go diagonal, where they have to go in and then turn around 180 degrees and come out. So just really let your imagination run wild on this. For younger kids, set it up really easy. For older kids, start them off a little bit more difficult and then see how it goes. And it's also a good thing to ask them, see what they can come up with as far as the obstructions and the obstacle course. Because it's really amazing what kids can come up with sometimes. And just a lot of fun. Well, that's the basics for the Space Race Unplugged game. As you can see, you're only limited by your imagination when it comes to how difficult or easy you want to make it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great day. Hope to see you next time.